Hi there and welcome to the Stephen Mendes channel. This is our patching synthesizer series and we're showing you today our Temple Gong patch. First you can listen to it. The wiring is not all that complicated. We've got the usual gate driving two envelope generators, one feeding the voltage controlled amplifier and one feeding the low pass filter. So it's a perfectly standard setup. The only difference here is in our oscillator feed into the filter, the state variable filter. Okay, we've got two oscillators. The modulating oscillator is set to the 8 foot and the tuning is more or less standard. The modulated oscillator is set to the 16 foot and the range is also pretty much standard. The frequency is centered, okay? So we've got the 8 foot oscillator driving the 16 foot oscillator, and we are using the pulse output in both cases, and the pulse output is going into the variable exponential frequency control, but we've got it turned up to all, so that's not really making much of a difference. You probably don't need to put that there. What's significant here is that the tuning of the modulating oscillator is very critical. Just a slight amount of tuning difference. You have to tune it so it doesn't beat, otherwise the effect disappears. Okay, so it's quickly it's a tuning, very accurate tuning relative to the two oscillators. If you play with the tuning settings, you'll see that you get some very un-gong like sounds. So the tuning is the critical thing to watch out for there. Now over here we have the frequency set to 5.2 and the resonance set to 4.9. Okay, hopefully you can see that. The frequency set to 5.2 and the resonance set to 4.9. And the only other significant point is that down here on the amplifier we've got the level, the control number 1 level set to 4.7 on the control level. So hopefully that's enough information for you to create the patch. Oh no, we need to give you the envelope generator settings, don't we? Okay, so we've got very short attack times. what does that look like? 0.2 and 0.4 on the one going to the amplifier. Then we've got identical decay times, which is 8 on all two. Sustain levels, we've got 0.4 on the voltage control amplifier and 0.8 on the filter. And release, we've got them very low, practically to 0 on the VCA and about 0.4 release on the filter. You can play with them also. I don't know that that makes a whole lot of difference. That didn't seem to be too critical in the setup. It's quite a simple patch for this gong, and hopefully you can duplicate it. If you have a problem, you can give me a message and I'll try to give you some advice. Okay, so the note that we were using for the gong is also significant, because as you go up the keyboard, the gong-like effect becomes less and less important. We were using the C, the third C up from 0 volts, so that would be a CV of what would that be, 2 volts. Okay, a CV of 2 volts on your frequency. So you don't really need to use a keyboard to trigger this gong at all. You could set your CV for 2 volts, and then you could just use a switch to trigger the gate. A foot switch or any kind of a switch, a panel switch. We could use our panel gate switch there and just trigger the gong from that. So hopefully you'll have fun with this gong patch. And as I said, thanks for watching the Stephen Mendes channel, and see you soon again. Here is a stripped down version of the Temple Gong patch. Listen to it. Basically, we're just taking a 2 volt CV. We're no longer using the keyboard. The 2 volt CV goes into the 1 volt per octave in the state variable filter. The pulse output goes to the input, and the output of the filter goes to the VCA. And like before, we have the pulse output of the modulating oscillator going to the 1 volt per octave input of the second oscillator. That's the modulated oscillator. We've got the envelope generator triggering the VCA, and we just trigger the envelope generator by pressing the gate button. Okay, so just once again, the settings are very, very critical on this modulating oscillator frequency. That's the key to it. Only you've got to tune it so that the beats disappear, and you can get that gong sound. So that's the key to it, getting that tuned, and then the oscillators may slip, you may have to retune. So that's the weak link in the chain. But all the other settings are as shown in the previous section.